I think the most profound thing that I discovered by being very present on the internet and being very engaged with the internet to try to build the platform that I'm trying to build is the amount of people that check out whenever that there is any hard conversations and the actual algorithms, the actual internet itself, it's just based around getting people not to check out. What's really interesting is that this somewhat permeates in much of culture today in terms of how we handle things. I think the issue of many things is the fact that we just don't have hard conversations. And not hard in the sense of like, angry and, heated and all that kind of stuff, but actually just thoughtful conversations of looking at what's the data actually show you, right? Like I think that is often so one of the biggest things I'm always combating with what I do in term particularly on the internet is people think that you're gonna make a whole bunch of money really quickly. Um, and the truth is never that way. It's a very fortunate few that has figured out how to game it to get that engagement where people really do drive it, right? Like, and those people are so few and far between, almost everybody quits and nobody wants to participate on it because of the challenges of it. So that's one thing, and there's all these other kind of hard conversations that you just have to look at the data and it's painfully obvious. Any number of hard conversations. And the fact is, I can't even name them here because you're going to check out. At least a few people check out or get angry or whatever. Um, and there are all the sort of normal conversations that many of us hear that are somewhat controversial. And that could raise people to be like, nah, I'm just gonna check out. Right. I think that that is one of the more fascinating things that I've experienced is it has nothing to do with presenting information in a wise and intelligent way, has nothing to do with trying to be, friendly and all that kind of stuff. It has everything to do with just pure engagement and what drives engagement across the board, right? Like it's all about what are the things that not only resonate with you, drive a lot of, first of all, a lot of intrigue, but also figuring out that most people don't want to learn something new. They want to reinforce what they already understand, right? And the more that you reinforce what they already understand, the better off that they will feel, the more secure that they're going to feel, right? Like that's one of the things that people totally misunderstand about learning is that they think it's supposed to be fun. No, learning is hard. And it often takes a lot of grueling amount of work that you never really want to do. And it's awkward and it feels terrible almost always, right? Unless you actually engage in it, you almost always will realize that, yeah, you know what? People don't want to engage in it, right? Like once you actually have lived this and gone through this experience, you'll realize that most people don't engage. It's interesting whenever, um, in my experience, at moments where there is something that maybe pushes the envelope just a little bit and challenges, inevitably people just check out. And that goes in all areas of life. And I think we're sort of facing a bit of a conundrum right now in that we don't really know how to handle this quite well, right? I think it's always been the case. I think that there are, unless you have good guidance to engage in whatever it is that's going to be challenging, I think most people have checked out for all of history. And I think that's why history somewhat repeats itself if you start looking at it in terms of portion of people that just check out and they don't want to engage in something because of the difficult conversations. It repeats the theme repeats itself so many times. If you just learn about some basic history, it almost always comes down to, this is uncomfortable to talk about, so I don't want to talk about it. Um, and so I'm gonna try to find something else to go talk about. So for me, I'm not in this to change anybody's mind at this moment. I've learned that you can't. But what I'm in it is to tell my truth and to tell my story. And even though it sometimes is uncomfortable to do those things, I am telling my truth. And I'm going to engage in as many ways as I possibly can and try to, first of all, tell you that you can do hard things. You have a tremendous amount of courage if you're willing to do it, but you're most likely unwilling to do it because somebody has taught you, reinforced that, you shouldn't be doing, or any number of different things you don't want to. Nobody's ever really pushed you directly in a challenging way that is constructive. Um, so you just don't engage in it. And for me, it's a fascinating, it's more of like, one side it's upsetting, right? That people are just unwilling to engage, right? I'm deeply upset. But at the other side, I'm like, this is an interesting phenomenon of human nature that I didn't understand the extent of it. And I think that's very fascinating. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day.